If you're a basketball player that wants to improve your game, but you're a little unsure of what you should be working on next for that improvement, well, today I'm going to share a simple question that's going to give you clarity on what you should be focusing on as you prepare for the upcoming season. Let's jump in and discuss. Welcome back to Heart Smart Together. I'm Coach Dave. I'm here every week to help basketball players become the smart, confident players that coaches love. So a few weeks back, I was watching the NBA draft, and I am a sucker for professional drafts. It doesn't matter if it's the NBA, WNBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. I love watching drafts as college players, and in some cases high school players, go on to fulfill their dreams of becoming a professional athlete. And the reason I love watching these drafts is, one, I love seeing the stories of the athlete and their journey that got them to kind of the pinnacle of their sport. The journey, the people that supported them, what steps they took. I love those kind of stories. But as well, I love seeing and hearing the analysts discuss each player that's getting drafted. And typically they're discussing two things. They're discussing the strength of that player, and they're discussing that player's weaknesses. So if you are a high school player, you can kind of learn something from my experience in watching drafts, because I've come up with one simple question that you can ask yourself if you're kind of unsure or confused about what you should be working on next, what you should be focusing on in your player development, especially as we approach the upcoming season. As we talked about last week, we still have 10, 11, 12 weeks in that neighborhood for your season to start, for tryouts to be here. And there's time to continue improving and continue working on your game, but you might just be kind of floundering. You might show up, you might be getting some shots up, you might be doing some ball handling, but for you personally, what should you be working on? So this question that I'm going to go over today, and how to ask it, who to ask it of, is going to give you clarity on what you should be focusing on. Now, before I get into that question, I always like to give you a free gift for spending the time with me today. So if you haven't already, be sure to download the 8 intangible skills that coaches love to see in players. These are kind of championship level skills that a lot of players ignore. And so I put it in a checklist form. You can download it. I'll put a link in the description below, or you can simply go to hardsmarttogether.com/intangibles, and I'll be sure to get you that free checklist with some ways that you can work on those skills. So, what is the question that you should be asking yourself, as well as asking coaches that you trust, that will give you clarity on what to focus on and what you should be working on next? I hear it over and over again in these draft shows. They say, the question mark on this player is whatever the case might be, right? Every player that comes into the professional ranks has a big question mark if they're going to be able to, fulfill and improve in this one area that can help them make their team successful. So the question you should be asking yourself first is, what is my question mark? What's the question mark in my game? And let's be honest, I'm saying that you should ask it first of yourself, because this is a chance for you to be totally honest with yourself, right? I know we all like to think that there's no question marks in our games. I like to think, maybe maybe I'm getting pretty good at this whole teaching thing. Maybe I'm getting pretty good at this coaching thing. But there's always question marks. There's always some room for improvement, okay? So I want you to do an honest assessment of your game. Maybe it's from last season. Maybe it's from your summer season, okay? I want you to do an honest question mark of what's the area of my game that's the biggest question mark, okay? That could be shot selection. That could be defense. That could be too many turnovers. That could be your ball handling. That could be your communication. That could be your teamwork. That could be your leadership. It could be all types of things that we talk about on this channel. So today we're trying to identify what's your personal question mark, and there's a number of resources that you can use from this channel and others and coaches in order to find ways to work on that specific thing. But the first thing is being upfront and honest with yourself. The second thing is I want you to ask any trusted coaches. Maybe it's your head coach. Maybe it's an assistant coach. Maybe it's a trainer. Any knowledgeable advisors. I would recommend don't ask your fans. Your fans are there to support you. Okay, unless they are really knowledgeable of the game of basketball, don't ask them because they want to build you up. They want you to feel good. They don't want to point out your question marks, right? So ask your coach. If you were going to draft me, which hopefully your coach is going to draft you onto the team you're playing on, right? But if you were going to draft me, what would be the biggest question mark you had about my game? And that gives you clarity and direction on what you should be working on, okay? Again, it could be, coach might say, hey, I need you to build up your basketball IQ. Maybe it's unselfishness. Maybe you're a little selfish on the court. Maybe, like I said, it's shot selection. It could be, maybe it's your confidence. Maybe you need to work on steps in order to build your confidence, which we talk a lot on this channel about, okay? But just on identifying your weakest point, we all know it's easiest to practice what we're good at, because we get to be successful all the time as we're practicing it. It's hard to practice what you're really bad at because you might feel like you're taking a few steps backwards, but that's how you move forward, right? So I want you to simply take action after you find out this information and after you do kind of this own self-analysis. And I want you to focus in the time between now and your season on what your biggest question mark is. And that's your tip for today. Hopefully this was helpful. I love the likes. If this was helpful, leave a comment below and say, after maybe you do kind of this self-analysis and you ask a coach or two, leave a comment below and tell me what's the biggest question mark in your game and what are you going to be working on. And until next week, remember to play hard, play smart, and play together. See you next week.